Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dropping Down from the Rafters podcast here on Toned In Entertainment. Joining me here on the podcast today is the owner of POW, Pride of Wrestling, Robby Joe Medina. How you doing, Robby?
Oh, damn, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. And thank you for having us at the last Pride of Wrestling event about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Man, it was my first one, man. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun at that show.
How you like it? How you like it? I mean, just to give you some tips. I mean, you were there when I was saying to everybody. Actually, we broke records like a pre-sale and everything. And we're so stoked. And I mean, we've been growing and growing. And I'm glad. I'm so thankful that you were there last show.
Yeah, no, a lot of the guys have been asking me to come out there for a while, from the Cheese to Controversial Inc. They're all like, Logan Cruz, Wheezy, all these guys are like, oh, you got to come out to Pride of Wrestling. I'm like, yeah, guys got to understand it's 4.5 hours away from me, right? So it's not an easy drive. So if I'm going to make my drive, I want it to be worth it. Robby, I can tell you it was certainly worth it. And I can't wait for more. We got a big show coming up in just a few weeks here.
Yeah, in 2 weeks, in 2 weekends, June 15. I wanted to actually thank you because I know that long drive 4 hours is it 4 and a half?
It says 4:15, but by the time you make a stop and everything, it's 4.5 hours.
Yeah, 4.5
you hit
hours
that Tampa traffic. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. I appreciate that it meant a lot for me. And it meant a lot for my team that you made that that drive to cover our show. And and you're more than welcome. And yeah, we have Prideaversary coming up this June 15, and we're so excited for what is coming because that show, if every year Prideaversary is something that is being growing and growing and growing. It's our WrestleMania, if there's a way of saying it. It's like all the tears and the sweats and the blood that we're putting in for the last 6 years. This is like the celebration of what pro wrestling is.
Now you guys run how many shows throughout the year?
So at the Recks Center, like at the auditorium that you saw, we ran 6. Yeah, 6. We have a show that it's also at the Rec Center, but it's actually at the Powwow Festival. So the Recreation Center has this Powwow Festival. That's our 7th show. This year, actually, we had another show, not at the Rec Center, but it was at the Pinellas Park. Pinellas Park actually contacted us, and we did this show at their Country in the Park. It's basically a big festival that they have, and we actually had that was our 8th show. So we've been growing. I mean, this is going to be actually a if nothing come up because we're not even like half of the year, so we can't even have more shows. But what we have right now scheduled is 8 shows so far.
Okay, so we're here in 2024. When exactly did Pride of Wrestling kick off?
Our first show was in June of 2018. That was PLW1 Dawn of Pride.
Okay, so we're talking about 6 years now.
This is actually our 6th year. Yeah, of course, there was 16 months that we didn't run because of the pandemic. So technically, this should have been our Prideaversary, our 5th Prideaversary, which is actually our 4th Prideaversary because of the pandemic. So we had to close doors, temporary, right before our 2nd anniversary. And actually, when we came back our 3rd Prideaversary. So we actually had this second, this rebirth, if there was a way of saying it. It was on our Prideaversary 3 years ago.
Okay, so when it goes to launching Pride of Wrestling in 2018, okay, what is the mindset going into launching a professional wrestling company? Is it something that you had dallied in before? Like, what was your experience going into it?
So for me, it's actually pretty funny because I'm from Puerto Rico originally. You can tell because of my accent. Spanish is my first language. So when I came to Florida to live in Florida, I moved in 2014. So I didn't know much, if anything, about wrestling in Florida. Just let me start with that. The only wrestling that I used to watch is, of course, WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, and but I was very into wrestling, lucha libre in Puerto Rico. So that's my background, lucha libre in Puerto Rico. I basically did wrestling maybe for like, I don't know, 2 years, and it was more of one of those like a backyard, and it was like when I was really young and I was out of wrestling, that from wrestling at all for like 8 years. So when I came here, everything started because I wanted to just have maybe 1 or 2 matches. So Alexis, my wife now, I wanted her to see me wrestle because she was kind of a fan, not too much, but then the company that or the school that I was actually training closed, and I was kind of well, you know what, I actually have something on my bucket list, and I wanted to open a wrestling promotion. Uh, Mind you, what I used to do, before that, and in Puerto Rico, I was actually doing TV and radio production. So that's my background. I went to school for that. So I was kind of okay. So I know about wrestling, I know about production, but I don't know about the scene in Florida. So that's how I associated with who helped me to open POW at that point, who became my booker the first year, and we opened POW. I mean, it was actually going into uncharted waters. To be honest, I didn't even know if it would be something that would work. I didn't know if it, how, I knew that there's a lot going on doing wrestling, but I didn't even know the scene in Florida when I opened the company like 6 years ago.
Okay, so I'm a podcaster, I'm an interviewer, right? Like I'm not a wrestler, right? So I often get messages from companies sometimes. They're like, hey, come out to this show. And I've never heard of them in Orlando, Florida, or this show in someplace in Florida. I'm very skeptical, right? Because I'm like, okay, obviously, if I'm going to invest my time and my money to go somewhere and do something, like I want to make sure like there's a payback for me, like I'm going to get something from it. So when you started up a promotion, here you are starting up a promotion. How do you go about like contacting wrestlers to even like trust you to come out and perform in your show?
So the situation with pro wrestling, and again, nobody knows me because I was not training with any promotion, any school in Florida. So nobody knows me. Nobody, you will see a lot of promotions like they will open and they maybe will run 2 or 3 shows and they will just vanish basically. And for me, nobody knows me. So it's this is another fly by night type of promotion. But the person that actually started with, his name is Frank Reyes. So he was pretty known in the area. So basically, Coach Frank at that point was the one who actually contacted me and basically started to book those, the wrestlers. And of course, one thing, we started running. We ran before the pandemic, as I mentioned, maybe 13 shows. I want to say maybe like it was actually almost 2 years of wrestling, of showing, of a running shows and everything. So now people are going to start to know a little bit more about pro wrestling. So yeah. So honestly, the first year and so I was kind of backstage. I was behind the scene. Nobody knew that I was the owner. I would put that way. So I had Frank being the face of the company when it comes with that, with booking and whatever. And me and Alexi were the one who were in charge of the production.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Before we go any further, Billy Sanchez says he's a listener from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Welcome,
Billy. That's my uncle. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Welcome, Uncle Billy. And the dad bod demigod, Joey Mayberry, who I just posted an interview today, said someone said pride and wrestling. Well, those two things definitely go hand in hand, especially with the dad bod demigod, Joey Mayberry. Thank you, Joey, for stopping by. Now, obviously, you've got a solid roster now. Like the roster that you've got going on, man. Again, they're some of my favorite people. I love these guys. I've seen them perform in other promotions, and I'm happy to see them all come together. So now, how difficult is it to not only keep your mainstays on your roster happy, but also try to integrate, new faces so that when fans come to these shows, they get a new experience so that the matches maybe don't get stale?
For that, I had to actually give a lot of props to my team now. I mean, yeah, I am the promoter. I mean, the owner. Okay, I am the owner.
Right.
But POW is actually a whole machinery right now, and people who believes in what is this, and when we say pride of wrestling is because we have that pride to of what we have, what we become, and at the same time we scout. I mean, we scout a lot. I mean, I've been scouting even before we started with POW, and at the same time it's like in order to get to POW we have really like uh what is the word, like we don't let everybody to come in. We don't let everybody to come in. You have to be the best of the best in Florida, and but at the same time we explain everybody that is in the roster, this is happening for a reason. We just not putting two people together and having a match just, oh, let's see how it goes. No, because we are so into like storyline, we are so like dreaming into like storylines, and we give all the dates in advance for the whole years, like believe, trust us, there's a reason why we're doing this, and we're doing this and this. We're going from A to B to C to D, the whole plan, the whole 9 yards. And people love it. I mean, people, they take ownership of, when I say people, I mean, I say the roster take ownership of what is this, what is POW, because we care about them. We care about their, we just want to be a platform for them. We just want them to use this platform to just take off in Florida. And that's the reason why it's so good. I mean, my booker, of course, I don't want to say, because it will it will be like
I understand. Yeah, I
pulling
want
the
you to bring up
curtain.
any names.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pulling the
yeah.
curtains and everything. But he is great. He is great into like matchmaking. He's great into storyline wise. He is. There's no enough. He's not getting enough credit, honestly.
Yeah, as someone who got to witness the behind the scenes, I could tell you guys were super organized, very well. Like everything just ran so smooth, from the pre-production to the production of the show to the post-production of the show to doing the storylines and doing the videos afterwards, and it ran like a well-oiled machine. So definitely a lot of props to those guys and gals who are working hard behind the scenes, because I saw a lot of people that I didn't know were necessarily doing things that were making things happen, man. And I was really impressed. And again, your team was super accommodating with everything that we needed to do that night as well, too. It was like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? With also balancing, make sure that they took care of their business first, which of course is performing and doing the promos for Pride of Wrestling, and then making sure they come to us to do some kind of character work and some fun interviews to help promote themselves and to help promote the show. So my first impression, they say you always need to make a great first impression. You guys definitely wowed me over with the first impression. So you guys did awesome. So I shouldn't ask you too much more about maybe the creative stuff, but as an owner, let's talk a little bit about business and how hard is it. Sometimes I sit there and I do the numbers, right? And I'm just, I'm a numbers guy, and I'm like, okay, there's this many people, they paid this much, I kind of know what people make and stuff. How hard is it to, run a business and to make sure that you guys aren't falling into the red?
It's a really good question. It's a really good question, because people don't understand that wrestling is one of the hardest entertainment businesses there is. There's music, there's TV production, radio production, you name it. There's the different type of entertainment. Wrestling is a really tough one, because the niche. And when you talk about not only the niche, but it's just independent wrestling, is actually a super niche here. And basically we like any other independent wrestling promotion, we are just a mom and pops type of business. That's the way I see it. When you mentioned about something about like how many people are here, versus, I actually learn a lot with this podcast from Conrad Thompson. I love to listen to Conrad Thompson. The podcast that he has with Jeff Jarrett, the podcast that he has with Bruce Pritchard, because they talk a lot about the production part of wrestling. Something that they mentioned, I remember listening to Conrad one time. He said, okay, so there's 10,000 people in this, the gate is like 10,000 people, for example, and merchandise sold $365,000, just to put a number. So that means there's like each person spent an average of $36, and that's basically how they go with the number. So I used as a similar formula. I said, okay, if there's going to be, I don't know, 150, 100 people, let's say 100 people. So I need, in order for, this is my budget, blah, 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 and I need the people to spend X amount of money in order for at least break even. At first, that's our first goal. Our first goal was, okay, this is the budget. This is how much I need between gates, between concession, sponsorship, everything, in order to break even. Once we did that, okay, now how much we need to do in order to make money. Still 6 years, we're still 6 years in here, and sometimes it's a struggle. You have to juggle, because the fact that the company is growing, that doesn't mean that we don't have those challenges. Because of course, you just said something earlier. We have one of the most solid rosters in Florida. Those people cost money. We're not talking about a hot dog and a handshake. You know what I mean? So those people, they deserve what they're asking for. Sometimes I wish I can pay them more, but I'm trying to treat them well. That's my main thing. I'm not here to make myself millionaire. I it would be really hard to just live off wrestling. If I can make extra money because this is my side hustle, for example, okay, cool, I can make money. But at the same time, I just want to build this platform because I want them to do good, so people can see them. So yeah, it's a business. As long as I am not in the red, I'm fine. But it's really, really, really hard. I mean, I'll be completely honest. It's really, really, really hard because I don't have big pockets. You know what I mean? I am not being like I don't have a big a godfather, for example. So it's a mom and pops type of business.
Now, this was one of the points that I was going to bring up, but Cherry Bombs have done it for me and assisted me already. She says, I love the storylines, and one of the most important things in professional wrestling. And Robby, I'm an old school guy. I'm a guy that grew up watching the NWA and WCW and ECW, and you got to have both, right? For me, I want to be invested not in just in the wrestling, right? The wrestling is super important. I want to see good matches. But I want to be pulled in, and I want to cheer, and I want to boo, and I want to be shocked and swerved. And, I want to ride the roller coaster that should be professional wrestling. And I think this is more of a question maybe for, your promoters and stuff like that on kind of how they plan out the stuff. But how have you seen the roller coaster of storylines and wrestling combined come together and get better over the years?
You said with PLW, right?
With Pride of Wrestling, yes.
Okay, so I always been from the beginning. I am a very storyline driven. I'm old school. 100%. Again, I grew up in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is considered the last territory. It's Carlos Colon, Abdullah the Butcher, you name it, Savio Vega, Miguel Perez, everybody. So they are really big into storylines. And the reason that they hooked me up, it was because of the storylines, from the get-go. So yeah, it's cool. The wrestling is cool, but if you're going to do like the 450 turn into a 630, and it gets old. It gets old, you know. Unfortunately, that's what is happening with AEW. You know, I was a really huge fan of AEW. It's just the same thing every, you know, over and over. And but with us, it's like, yeah, you will see good matches because you know you're going to see good matches. Don't expect a death match. Don't expect a super high flyer type of wrestling because maybe that's not POW. But you're going to have a really good storytelling through a match and what takes you through that match. And that's why we're really into, you know, telling stories online. You know, you have to follow our social media, you know, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. So we always are like putting stories. Okay, this promo, you know, this video, this happened. The whole thing, you were there last show. This whole story between Daniel Starling and Leroy Shogun, it lasted a whole year. That blow off match, it was the culmination of a year of you know, building not only Leroy and Starling, but the whole like gifted versus first class. You know, we actually built this really big storyline driven. Why? Because that you went for the first time. I was like, oh wow, this happened, and now you saw that Leroy had this like a confrontation against Jay Lethal at the end. Oh, I want to come next show because I want to know what is going to happen now. You know, so that's actually the hook that basically is going to make people to, you know, keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, and that's why you will see a whole lot of regulars that are bringing are coming not only for this show, but now they're going to tell their neighbors, oh hey, yeah, you have to see this show, this happened at the show that I went and I saw, and they're going to have now this other match, and you have to come. And now they're coming with the neighbor, they're coming with, you know, their nephews are going to coming, you know, with the whole family. So that's basically what is the main I would say that's the main reason why PW is where it's at right now.
Joey Mayberry saying, I'm loving all this. He's going to have to check POW out. Yes, definitely. I mean, one of the guys, Joey Mayberry, was on the show I covered this past weekend, and the Cheese was also on the show, which the Cheese is a staple at Pride of Wrestling.
Yeah.
And we can also, I've got the graphic here. Let me bring it up here. Let's go ahead and talk about the Cheese's match coming up, because I'm a huge tag team. I'm a tag team nerd. Okay. I love tag teams, and
sure.
I love ladder matches too, and I've actually got it in front of behind us. That's on me. But we've got Controversial Inc., The Gifted, and we've got the Cheese and Bud Heavy in a triple threat tag team match coming up this weekend.
Oh yes,
or 2 weekends, 2 weeks from now. Yes.
Yeah, the 15th. That's true. And that show that match is it's going to be. I am the owner, and I am like, man, I am so excited about that match. I mean, and sometimes I am the kind of person who, okay, I just want to see them. I just want to enjoy the match. Like, there you go.
There we go. We got it up in the front now. Yeah, there we go. The triple threat. Yes.
Yeah, so I want to enjoy the match the same way that all the fans are going to, you know, going to show them, you know, enjoy the match. And I mean, what I can tell you about the you know, that match, this is a story that's been going on since the end of last year, because I mean, even more, because when she started with POW, she started as a tag team with Bud Heavy, and that's how they started with Beer Cheese. Cheese actually stopped being a tag team with Bud Heavy the moment that Cheese won the Florida title. At one point when he won, he was the first Florida champion, first PLW Florida champion. They came back. They actually they were back together last at the end of last year. Now you have Controversial Inc., where Salazar lost the PLW championship at the end of last year. The same thing happened, and on the same show, the Gifted beat Rewind Society for the title too, in another like you know, long storylines. Now you're going through this, shenanigans basically, and we just wanted to have a number one contender. The match just was there was no winner. It was like a double count out, but something has to happen, And I was like, you know what? We're not going to have a double count out. We're not going to have disqualification. We're going to actually go and put the titles, on top of the ring, and we're going to have a tables, ladders, and chairs match, and it's going to be a match that 40 ages.
I can tell you, Robby, I can raise my hand, and I fully agree with that decision because I love carnage, and I love to see people beat the crap out of each other.
It will be a car wreck.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to enjoy their suffering, and we're going to cheer on all 6 of them at the same time, but it's going to be an awesome, awesome match. Now, you mentioned at the end of the show how it all ended. Leroy Shogun obviously lost his championship to the King, Daniel Starling, who was also on the show that I covered this past week. And so Daniel Starling's the new champion. But after that match, Leroy Shogun had a run-in with Jay Lethal in the crowd, which is setting up for this big match on June 15th. So Jay Lethal, obviously AEW. Jay Lethal's been around. Jay Lethal is a staple in professional wrestling. Yeah. He's a staple. Much respected. I know so many guys. One of the best
in the world.
So many guys and girls that I've talked to that have trained with him absolutely love him. He's great in the ring, great personality, great wrestler. But Leroy Shogun, he's the baddest man on the planet. And it's going to be, that match right there is going to be definitely a barn burner, I guess, if you want to go back to the 80s and bring out a reference like that.
For that match, I think it's going to be more like a grudge match. And the situation with this match is that this whole situation started 2 years ago. The first time that we brought Jay Lethal to POW was a Prideaversary 2 years ago, 2022. Risking It All. That was the name of that show, and I was a 1-on-1 against Daniel Starling. So the real story here is that I had Jay for the meet and greet, and he actually a couple of days later or a couple of weeks later he told me, hey, so I would like to wrestle that show. And I was like, you want to? Jay Lethal is asking me, that he's telling me that he wants to wrestle at POW, and I was like, okay, so what we're going to do? So I just talked to the board and everything, and so we said, okay, who we are going to put Jay against. The original name that my booker actually came out and my matchmaker came out with was Leroy, and I was like, Leroy just being with us for 1 or 2 shows at that time. And I was like, so who are you thinking about? I was like, well, I think that the one who actually deserves the spot is Starling, because Starling has been with us since before the pandemic, and he's been, going, So, okay, we just announced the match in our talent chat, and we're going to have this match. Jay reached out to us, and I want, to tell everybody we decided that it's going to be Jay versus Daniel Starling. And Daniel Starling at that point was living in Virginia. So Daniel Starling basically came from Virginia to Florida for that match. And I think he mentioned that in your interview that I didn't know that. I didn't know that he basically hung up he hung the boots. And basically because of that call, I told him, hey, you want to wrestle? I said, okay, yeah, sure. Who I'm going to wrestle? Okay. When I didn't answer to him. So I basically put that on the talent chat, and the match was great. Leroy came with Jay during that match. As so Jay came, Starling came with Ronnie Bass and with the Cheese because it was first class, and Jay came with Leroy. It was because Leroy, if you see, look at Leroy. Leroy, as like many of us, he had Jay in this pedestal basically, and he had a little injection. Look at Leroy, and it's basically vintage Jay Lethal basically, and but at the same time, Jay and this is basically what Leroy says. I mean, I'm not at the wrestling lab. I don't know what is going on. But Jay is like, oh yeah, Leroy, okay, cool. But it's like he has this like favoritism with Starling. He was, he was his first match, which Starling has nothing to do with that. I was the one who took, who made the decision of putting him, putting them together. The next year, so Jay was on Starling's side along with the Cheese, and that match actually is on YouTube against the Gifted, because now the Gifted's been running the whole like you know how they are, and they're running POW like they will be theirs, and then basically just had that match, and then Leroy's been dominating POW. He dominated POW for over a year as the POW Florida champion. He was actually defending the title on pretty much every single show. He was the workhorse champion, and until Daniel Starling on their second match basically beat him. Of course, now he just lost the match. I mean, he just lost the match when this whole situation happened. He's so hot headed right now. Like he just lost everything. He did a whole song because of he was the Florida champion. He was like right there, and when he basically just made the song and he's like right here on top. Now he lost the championship. So he did all that for nothing. What happened? Starling wins. Jay's there. He was clapping because one of his students won the title. The first thing that Leroy sees is Jay's is clapping not to him, but to Daniel Starling. And Leroy said, I was here. I was undefeated for 3 years. You never came to see me. Oh, but because it's your boy, he's your punk boy, like he said in the promo, it's because he's your boy. Now you came here. You know what? Screw that. Now who's going to be the next one? So it's not going to be ever me. And basically that's the whole situation of how, Leroy is so like fed up, so angry, and there's going to be, I usually see another video actually after the interview. I'm going to actually post it because there's more to this story. And Leroy's really mad, really, really, really mad. And you don't want to have the baddest man alive like on your wrong side. So so this match is going to be one that if it's not going to be match of the year, it's going to be close.
How important is it to have somebody like Jay Lethal mentoring and just kind of, I don't want to give too much away, but just being a part of POW and what he does for you guys?
Jay's being a blessing. I will say this. I've been a fan of Jay. I don't know if I ever told him, but I've been a fan of Jay since his TNA days. I would say maybe like 2005. Like I think I was either still in college or was just graduated from college when that happened. And for me, like Jay Lethal, wow, I had Jay Lethal on the same. For me, it's like AJ Styles, Loki, Bernie Danielson, and then Jay Lethal. They are right there, like the most complete. Christopher Daniels, Amazing Red. So that's the type of wrestling that I am really into it. And when I met Jay, it was like, shit, I almost starstruck. I'll be honest. I starstruck. What can I say? And knowing him, knowing the kind of person that Jay Lethal is, and like he's just not one of the boys, but it's just that he's so accessible, and he will give you the most truly like sincere of him, like a part of him, and how he, the work ethic and the work ethic that he taught to his students. 80% of POW roster are Jay Lethal students, and it's not because I have an agreement with the lab. It's just because I feel that the most complete student, the most complete wrestlers are the ones who are coming from Jay Lethal's school, and it was organic. It was organic. It was like I had all the students coming, and then one day I say, "Hey Jay, would you like to be, having a match with us?" And he just said yes, and he came to the show, and that's how that's how I had the second conversation with him, and but man, it's just that when when you see the quality of his students, the ethic of his students, and when you meet the teacher and the coach is even like second to nothing, second to none. I meant to say, I mean, it's there's no good thing that I can say about Jay. No.
It's really cool because I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason, and it definitely feels like a match made in heaven, or whatever terminology you want to put out there. But I'm a big believer that the universe puts things in place to make magic happen, and it feels like these two things coming together. You guys are definitely making a lot of magic happen, both for his students and then for your company as well, which is really cool. Now we have a couple more matches I think we should talk about. I would say I was going to get my popcorn ready, but Labrava dumped it out at the last show. Well, it wasn't mine, but it was somebody's. But let's talk about the women's match coming up. Lexi Gomez and Allie versus Allie Recks. I did have a private conversation with Lexi Gomez this past week. Sunday, actually, I saw her at the same show I was covering, and we had a conversation on camera and off camera. But off camera, I was asking her about the popcorn being dumped. Like, you got the popcorn dumped all over you. She's like, yeah, and she's like, I think the person was very mad because I think Labrava didn't go get them a new popcorn.
No, I was actually on. Actually, you know where I was sitting. I see it, by the music and everything, and I saw all of a sudden that the popcorn kind of start. And I honestly thought that it was something that happened, like it was not something on purpose. I realized that what really happened when I was editing the match, because I was so far I didn't see what happened. When I was actually watching the video when I was editing, and it's like she dumping the popcorn on, I think it was on Allie. And
it was on Lexi. Lexi told me she got the popcorn dumped on her. It might have been both of them, but Lexi told me she actually had popcorn dumped on her. Yes, it could have been both.
I had to see it, but it was Brava, the one who actually dumped the popcorn.
Correct. Yes.
And I saw the girl who popcorn was. She was like, "What?" And the most like honest reaction. I was like, "Oh shit!" I mean, and I was like, what happened with this? This girl's the parents are going to be mad. I mean, I was asking Alexis, like, did they come to the concession and say anything? Or not that I know of. Not that I know of. So I was like, oh crap, oh my gosh. I mean, so if you're watching, whoever the fan that had the popcorn, if you're seeing this, look for me. The next popcorn is on me. I am so sorry. I didn't know until I was editing the match. So yeah, I am so sorry. Honestly,
you're gonna have to put the bill. I don't think Labrava feels bad about pouring out a fan's popcorn, though.
No, she actually enjoyed every single minute of it. So yes. I know that.
Now the match that is coming up, it is Lexi versus Allie Recks in 2 out of 3 falls match. Yep. So. Do you guys run too many 2 out of 3? Lexi told me it's her first 2 out of 3. I'm sorry. Lexi told me it's her first 2 out of 3 falls match. Do you guys run too many? There's not too many of these types of. Your first one? Okay.
This is the first one. It's funny because the first ladder match in PLW was a women's match. The first, now 2 out of 3 is a women's match too. So we are really, we believe. We really believe into it, like equality, and we want that the title, the women's title, has to have the same importance as the PLW title. So it's not like one title is the main one and the second. We have had shows where the women's title was the main event. We had shows where the PLW title, the one that right now holds Mike Orlando, is the main event, that usually which is usually how it goes. And in this last show, you remember the Florida title was the main event. So if you have a title, sometimes you can be the main event. So that's basically how it works with PLW. In regards to the match, yes. This is actually this is actually the blow off match. I mean, if whoever wins, there's not going to be rematch. There's not going to be chase for the title. No, whoever wins. Whoever loses, you're not going. Unfortunately, not going to have another title opportunity after that. So this is it. This is it. And the reason that we are having this rematch for Allie and Lexi is because Allie hasn't been technically pinned since she lost the title. I'm going to explain the reason. The reason that Lexi won the title was because in checkmates at the end of last year, when Allie and Labrava had this street fight, Allie won, and Lexi just cashed in her title opportunity right there, and just powerbomb her. Bam, 1, 2, 3. Now Lexi is the champion. She was not even booked that day, and the rematch, it ended into a actually Ali won via disqualification because Labrava attacked Ali. And when there's a disqualification, the title doesn't change hands. During Country in the Park, Labrava actually went now for the title. And he ended up also again in a double count out. There's no definitive winner there. That's how the triple threat came to be. In the triple threat, the one who got pinned was Labrava. So by elimination, Brava had her opportunity. She got pinned. She's out of the out of the scene, the title scene now. But now you have to settle the score between Allie and Lexi. So now you have to, it's going to be a 2 out of a 3 falls match. You have not only one, you have to actually pin your opponent 2 times or submit 2 times in order to win the title, or whoever had to win. And that way Ali will have she always says that the title was stolen from her. It was a robbery. Well, now she has what she needs in order to win the title back. So we'll see if Ali will be able to be a 2-time women's champion, or if Lexi will be able to retain the title.
I'll tell you what, Lexi Gomez, when she sees a good opportunity, she knows how to cash it in. Yeah. Labrava, I can tell you, I spoke to her after that match. She was not very happy. And I've talked to Allie before, and she's fired up. I know she's going to be ready. So, again, just another banger of a match. I know those 2 ladies are going to bring it. And, we don't have to just see one fall. We get to see them have to go 2 or maybe 3 falls. So, the carnage will sure be there for those ladies. I'm sure they're all going to be sore the next day, but one woman will stand as the POW Women's Champion after that match.
That's true.
The next match that you guys have announced, or one of them, is Rewind Society taking on the Metro Brothers. I've never met the Metro Brothers before. I know they do a lot of independent wrestling, and they've been on AEW and stuff like that. And obviously Rewind Society, I'm very familiar with. Those guys are just an absolute blast. The crowd loves them. So how does this match all come together between these 2 very diverse tag teams?
So Rewind Society are fan favorites. Our fan favorites in POW. You saw
the crowd is crazy. They love them.
They go
yes.
crazy. They go crazy. You can put them VIP matches. You can put them main card. They're going to have the same reaction. People are going to react. They love the Rewind Society. The Metro Brothers actually reached out to us, and I saw, well, they're champions in other promotions. They run the whole state of Florida. You said it. They've been in AEW. I think they were one time in NXT. I'm not sure. I think they were. But they are being a very solid tag team in Florida. And again, it's like how WWE used to say, when where the big boys play, so it's basically the same with POW. If you say that you are the best of the best in Florida, okay, you know what, you have to prove yourself in POW, because here it's not going to be there's no favoritism. There's no politics. There's no nothing. If you think that you are the best of the best, you have to come here and prove yourself that you're the best of the best, and you're going to be actually tested against the best of the best in Florida. So yeah, let's see how the Metro Brothers do here. I mean, I seen there. I see them. I of course my money is on Rewind Society. Those are my boys, and but I mean the moment that we announced the Metro Brothers in to the talent chat and to the fans, and I received a lot of messages. Oh, I love the Metro Brothers. Oh my God, that how you pulled that, man, they're great, and they're okay. If they're great, they're good. They're going to show. They have to show that they're that good when they come to PLW. So yeah, that will be a pretty interesting match.
Now, speaking of great, let's go to the King of Florida, Daniel Starling, against a guy that I've become a huge fan of. And if I don't say his name correctly, he will beat me up in an alley or just in front of a lot of people. And I got to say it correctly. That's Dirty Devin Diaz.
The Dirty Man.
The Dirty Man is coming to POW. He's looking for championship gold against the King, His Majesty, as I called him in our interview, Daniel Starling.
Yep. So you saw what Daniel Starling is capable to do. It's he put this like a classic against this instant classic against Leroy Shogun. And the Dirty Man, on the other hand, he's being little by little, slowly but surely, he's been climbing the ladders.
He gets those victories. He gets them. He gets them.
I mean, I don't remember when was the last time that let me see. I'm trying to remember when was the last time that Devin Diaz lost in POW. But he's been climbing the ladder. And finally he's going to have his opportunity. And I mean, they had this if you saw the video, they had this like confrontation right after Daniel Starling won the title at PLW 32. Who's the king? The video came out I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, and yeah. So now we're going to settle the thing. Okay, so is the Dirty Man? Will the Dirty Man be able to dethrone the newly crowned Florida champion? I don't know. I mean, I've seen the Dirty Man actually stealing championships. So I don't know if it's going to be a steal, if it's going to be a win. I don't know what is going to happen, honestly.
I mean, if he wins, it's going to be absolutely clean. There'll be no funny business whatsoever. That's just my personal opinion on Dirty Devin Diaz.
I mean, he's a champion in other promotions. I mean, he's completely capable capable of being a champion in PLW. I mean, he's one of those like up and coming top talent that PLW has, and we'll see what is going. What will happen in this match.
Now, the final match, at least one that I have a card for, is Eddie Torres, the Authority, taking on Mike Orlando and Kekoa. And obviously, I interviewed Mike Orlando after the show, and he had some very, 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 very strong words for what Eddie Torres and Dr. Eric Christopher did to him. He seems to be pretty cool with Kekoa and wanting to have a good match, but you're throwing in, again, I'm not going to put the words in his mouth there because they were very strong, but Mike Orlando is a very angry man as to what happened at the end of his match with the Authority sticking his nose in his business, so to say.
I don't blame him. Because I didn't want Eddie Torres to be in the building that day. He had his opportunity last show on PLW 31, and he just blew up. I mean, he not only he lost, he just walked out. When you have the situation that happened with Storm Thomas not being able to wrestle because of his health issues, and now you have the opportunity that you won in a very controversial way against Kekoa, exposing the turnbuckle, because unfortunately the referee didn't see that, but he exposed the turnbuckle, and that's how he beat Kekoa. And now you have the opportunity to go on the same night on the main event and go for the title, and you just decide to walk out. For me, that for me was a complete disrespect, because you don't only disrespect the champion, you disrespect the administration, you disrespect the fans, and you basically disrespect what that title means for the POW army. That's like a honestly, that's like spitting on my face. I would put it that way. It's like a slapping, you know, in my face, and that's the reason why Eddie was not booked for Who's the King. I didn't want to. I could have had a rematch, because we didn't have anybody, and thankfully we had David Mercury, who came back after 5 years, almost 6 years, came back to POW for that match. And then you just sneak and sneak out, sneak in and just attack, behind behind Mike Orlando's back, and do what he did. That's a coward move. And we're talking about the main championship. We're talking about the face of POW. We're talking about whoever has that championship is the face of POW, and he wants that title after he's been disrespecting the title. On the other hand, you've seen how Kekoa is being, again, slowly but surely, is being climbing the ladder, climbing the ladder, and it's like the Rocky, the Cinderella story. That he's the one that nobody bet on him, but it's being like a slowly but surely he's been going, and adversity after adversity, after adversity, and he's been going for the title. Now he had the opportunity for the first time to go for the POW, championship. I don't care who wins as long as it's not Eddie, because I feel, and this is me as a promoter, me as the owner of the company, I don't want that whoever holds the title is going to be somebody that already disrespected the title. See, and I feel that since Eddie, and let me just give you a little bit of context on this. To a certain extent, I feel that this Eddie, how he's being behaving for the last almost year in POW, it's a little bit of my fault, because when the whole situation, when I brought State Line to basically take care of, so they can take care of the gift, and I thought that would be walk in the park, and basically Eddie and Damien, Damien Angel will be like kicking the gifted asses and everything, and actually happened the completely opposite. And at the end, I had to actually be the one making the 1, 2, 3 count. That was heartbreaking, because not only Eddie lost before that his opportunity for the title, now he's losing against the gifted, and that's not anybody, any person. It's like what Harvey Two Face says in the Dark Knight. It's like you cannot be you cannot be a correct man in a corrupt world, basically something like that. And basically that's what happened with Eddie. Eddie saw himself that he cannot be this good authority person, and going through the and he snapped, and the person that he snapped on was like Damien. And then after that happened, he brought Eric Christopher to POW. I know that they have some history, South, Florida, in South Florida, whatever. But this new Eddie, I completely I don't recognize him at all. It's not the Eddie that we brought to POW to be a good contender for the title. He changed completely. He man, I am so disappointed of him. I mean, I look up to him so, so big when he started. I mean, and he's another person. And when you had the good doctor on his ear, and with 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 all his like a bad advice and everything, and this is happening. I mean, I honestly hope whoever wins, that is not Eddie, because honestly, I don't want the face of the company to be a coward. That would take away all the pride from pro wrestling, basically.
Yeah, the good doctor, as many call him, or has certainly gotten in his ear, and you have definitely seen. We've all seen a change in the authority Eddie Torres over the past year or so. I feel like he's meaner, he's angrier, and maybe just a little bit hungrier. So I think the Green Machine and Kekoa, both of them have a lot to deal with in that match, but. I mean, you've got three guys in there that can literally just beat the crap out of anybody in that arena that night, all in one ring together. Again, you got two triple threat matches, a tag team triple threat, and this triple threat match, and it's definitely going to be.
Yep.
I mean, the card is insane. I'm actually getting goosebumps. I'm super excited for this show.
There's one more match that hasn't been announced yet, and
okay,
it's going to be announced this week.
Okay, because I know you don't have to say his opponent, but I know August Artois is on the flyer. So we don't know his opponent yet. I was going to say, I don't think I've missed that one because he promotes his stuff very good. Yeah. So I always see what he posts. So I haven't seen a match announcement.
Actually, August is really, really, really mad. And he feels that it's really, really disrespected because we haven't announced who his opponent is. And the only thing that we know is that Frank the Clown is coming to PLW. For those who haven't heard of Frank the Clown, he's pretty known. He's pretty known in not only in Florida but Chicago and in I think New York as well. He's been around. He's been around in many places, and he's known for managing high profile superstars. So the only thing I can say is nobody from the current roster. It's definitely not somebody from the current roster, and it's going to be a really, really good surprise, and we will know. I will say in the upcoming couple of days.
Okay, so Frank the Clown is bringing in a big client to take on August Artois. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was going to be my question here. I'm like, where's the match announcement? I know he's on the flyer. He's actually told me personally he's going to be at this show wrestling. He's like, oh, I'm going to see you there. I'm like, yeah. So he couldn't tell me who he was wrestling. So we're going to find out in a few days. So, okay, we're excited. All right. Well, Robby, is there anything else that we should know before we let you go?
First of all, I want to thank you for having me today. It's been a really long journey what we have with PLW. I do thank you again for coming and for coming in this past show, and also you plan to come for Prideaversary as well, right?
We're there. Well, we've got the day off of work.
Awesome.
I made sure I asked for it so we could come. So awesome. We're coming. We're coming.
Awesome. Yeah. So we just want to invite everybody to come to Pro Wrestling PLW present PLW 33 Prideaversary. Make it or break it. There's many reasons of why it's make it or break it, because every name, each name that we have, especially for our anniversary shows, is because it's something going with the company. So make it or break it means a lot for us. You don't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale. Actually, when it went on sale, like at the end of last show, the tickets are being moving so fast to the point. And this is not like you buy your tickets. It's not a marketing. It's not a marketing gimmick or anything like that. Legit, the tickets are being going fast. They are being going. Last show we broke records. We actually are ahead of where we were last show at this time, at this date, in this day. So I would definitely say buy your tickets. get your seats. If you want, if you can get VIP, get your VIP ticket. There's going to be meet and greet. There's going to be the VIP matches, which are always great matches. The meet and greets are going to be great. G Little is going to be one of the superstars that are going to be. The surprise is going to be the other person is going to be in the meet and greet. Of course, you're going to be able to take pictures with the POW superstars. And yeah, definitely, June 15, Seminole Recreation Center in Seminole, Florida. I just want to extend the invitation to all of you, and yeah, be part of the POW Army.
Awesome. Where can people watch more content for POW? Where can they socials, all that good stuff?
So you can go to Facebook and Instagram at Pride of Wrestling LLC. X is PO Wrestling LLC. Go to TikTok, just search Pride Wrestling, and go to YouTube, at Pride Wrestling. And basically, when you go to YouTube, you're able to see, the matches, weekly. Actually, we're putting not only Saturdays, we put the latest matches, but also that we're doing this throwback. We're actually going a year back and then putting matches that we haven't posted yet, and they're great matches. I mean, last time we actually posted last week we posted Eddie versus, I'm sorry, Salazar versus Mike Orlando ladder match for the title. And that was the show that Mike Orlando won the title. Two shows 2 weeks ago, we put the 3 versus 3 first class match that I was telling you about. It was Jay Little, Dennis Starling, the Cheese versus the Gifted. So you go to YouTube, and in YouTube you'll be able to see everything. And if you want to know what is going on and all the storylines and follow the storylines for our shows, Instagram and Facebook, you're able to see everything. And of course, go to our website, www.prideofwrestling.com.
Well, lots of good stuff going on with Pride of Wrestling. Guys, if you haven't, and I'm a big advocate for trying to tell people, they watch a lot of the wrestling on TV, but getting them to come to these local shows, the independent shows, and they don't want to go, it blows my mind. Because to me, I think in the little that me, like, man, I have so much fun. And I just enjoy watching the rising superstars. These guys and girls are literally working their butts off to get it to the next level. And it's so great to see how much work they put in. I love the storylines. I love the creativeness that goes into independent wrestling as well, too. So I'm a huge fan of not just indie wrestling, but especially what you guys are doing, too. So I can't wait for us here on Toned In Entertainment. We've got, I think we did 9 interviews at Pride of Wrestling. So all those are up from the last show. Tomorrow I'm dropping an interview with the Authority, Eddie Torres, as well, too, from this past week, in a different show, maybe a different Eddie Torres as well, too. But we'll be dropping that interview tomorrow. Awesome. And then for us, we'll be covering CCW Bash at the Brew in Hialeah this week. We'll be at River City Wrestling Con for 2 days next weekend. And then the following weekend, we will be at Pride of Wrestling covering that show. Prideaversary. We're super excited. Joey Mayberry sending a lot of hearts. Thank you, Joey, for coming through. We appreciate the love, my friend. My interview with Joey is up right now. It's awesome. It's super fun. It's out of control. It's just another interview with Joey Mayberry. That's all I can say. It's great if you guys haven't checked it out. Cherry Bomb says, yes, independent wrestling is my favorite. Triple Hearts. Awesome. And I have a feeling Cherry Bombs for sure will be at Pride of Wrestling as well, too. It's just a strong intuition that I have that she'll be there as well, too. Nice. Awesome. So, Robby, again, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I know we talked about doing an interview, and I know doing it at a show with an owner is almost impossible. You've got a million. I saw how busy we didn't even get to say hello at the last show. Salazar told me he was going to introduce me. A bunch of the guys were like, you got to meet Robby.
I think I knew because I think we spoke online before the show briefly. You're like, hey, and I saw you like kind of far when I was doing the meeting that we do before the show. So I saw you say, oh yeah, he's Tony. I mean, he's like, because I tried to do kind of a survey of who is listening to the. Okay, he's Tony from Tony. But yeah, honestly, I am so sorry. I mean,
No,
how I was like all over the place. I am, with Alexis is is in charge of the gates, and I had to go there and help her. I had to do production here, music. I had to go and run to the to the locker room. I mean, I am all over the place, so I am so sorry that I was not able to.
It's okay. All the guys, I mean, Cheese, everybody was telling me, oh, have you talked to Robby? Have you talked to Robby? I'm like, where's Robby? You're over there running it.
Wow,
and we didn't talk till after the show, but it's all good. And I was like, we talked about doing an interview. I'm like, there's no way we're going to be able to do it correctly at a show. It's going to be 3 minutes long. There's a lot to talk about with Pride of Wrestling. I'm glad we get to sit down and have this chat because it's definitely worth it. And I should actually show my shirt off tonight.
Oh, the controversial ink.
Labrava made me buy the shirt or she was going to beat me up. So I figured I'd wear it tonight too and show it off. Otherwise, she will beat me up again. I'm not really scared of the two guys. I mean, a little bit, but Labrava scared me.
You should be scared of Labrava more than
Salazar. I rock the shirt. Yeah. So,
and if you want to get merchandise for Pride Wrestling, it's not only at the shows, but also when you go to PrideWrestling.com, there's going to be a shop zone, and you can see the the shirts like the POW Army shirt. You can see the Wrestling is My Life shirt. We have mugs also. I mean, we have the Skull Candy. We have the different models, and they're really good designs. And just take a look, and that way you can support independent wrestling.
Absolutely. Well, Robby, thank you so much for joining me here tonight.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, guys, if you like interviews like this with Robby Joe Medina, the owner of Pride of Wrestling, guys, come out to the show. It's going to be fire. I promise you. The last show was so much fun. I'm super stoked for the next one. So get your tickets if you're in the area. And if you're not, make a weekend of it. Come out to the Tampa area. There's a lot more to do after you enjoy a great night of professional wrestling on a Saturday evening. So, guys, if you haven't already, guys, make sure you hit that red subscribe button so you can say tune in here to Tone and Entertainment for future videos.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.